Hello. Uh-oh. Didn't realize how far I was going to be over. Hello, and welcome to Kelly's Wordy Reactions. So, the gentleman on my screen is Ben, and Ben has a YouTube channel, or Ben is with the Midas Touch Network. I'm not sure if how that works over there, but let's just say call him Ben. His name is right here on the screen. He's with the Midas Touch Network here on YouTube, and their channel is playing the Bernie Sanders speeches that are happening. I believe there's been three so far. There may have been more by now. But he says that they are committed to airing Bernie Sanders speeches that are happening all over the country, apparently. And I heard some of this one yesterday. I wanted to play it for you all, and I wanted y'all to tell me what y'all think of it. So I don't know if I'm going to play all of it. I might. I'm not sure how that would work. I'm having to hold my mic. I'm not sure how that will work. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. And go.
Bernie Sanders was just speaking in Altoona, Wisconsin, as part of his Fight the Oligarch tour. As Senator Sanders writes, over 15,000 people came out in Republican districts in Michigan and Wisconsin this weekend to say no to oligarchy, no to authoritarianism, no to Medicaid cuts, no to huge tax breaks for billionaires. If we stand together, we can defeat Trumpism. Now, we know that MAGA Republicans are canceling their town halls, but Senator Bernie Sanders was in Wisconsin. He was in Michigan, speaking to reddish and purplish areas, speaking to workers. Here he was in Altoona, and here's one of the messages that he had to deliver. Let's play it.
We have people who have serious alcohol problems. People have food problems, tobacco problems. A lot of people have addictions. But I will tell you what the most serious addiction is. It is the addiction of greed of this billionaire class. I mean, how much do you need to live? And there is no stopping them. And what is scary is right now, they are prepared to dismember the federal government and cut programs that low-income and working-class people desperately need so that they can give themselves an enormous tax break of over $1 trillion. By the way,
now I want to play for you the full speech. Again, I was debating if I should clip it up for you, but this speech is just too powerful. You have to watch the whole thing and you have to share it with people. I think Senator Sanders is meeting the moment right now. Watch this full speech, share it with everybody you know, and then I want to talk to you about it after it's done. Let's play this speech.
Thank you, Altoona. This is an unbelievable turnout, and I want to thank all of you for being here this afternoon. I want to thank Altoona High School, Police Music, Joanna and Cindy and Bill for their wonderful remarks. Love you too. And I got to tell you, being here is like being in rural Vermont. Most of Vermonters live in towns like Altoona. I would say well over half the people in Vermont live in towns of 500 or less. So in fact, Altoona would be one of the largest cities in the state of Vermont. That's true. So why was I in Kenosha last night? We had a great turnout. Why am I here this afternoon? Why am I heading to Warren, Michigan this evening? And the answer is that we have some serious problems in this country, and together we're going to address them. And given what is going on in Washington right now, how we respond to this moment, and things are going on literally every day. Pick up the paper, something new is happening. How we respond together to this moment will impact not only our lives, but our kids'
Hey there,
lives
Call Me Neek.
and
Thanks
the
for
future of
stopping
this
in.
planet. So what we are doing right now is making it clear here in Altoona and all over this country that the American people, and I believe this, even whether you're conservative, you're progressive, you're moderate, you're independent, Republican, Democrat, you know what? The American people do not want a handful of billionaires to be running our government. And the American people want a president and an administration that respects the Constitution and does not move us toward an authoritarian form of society. You know, I got to tell you, in Vermont, I don't know how you do it here in Wisconsin, but in Vermont, and we just had it a few days ago, we have town meetings all over the state. Small towns have meetings, and they argue about how much they want to put into the schools and in the roads. And everybody gets up and they yell and they scream and they do their thing. It's called democracy. And you know what? I don't know how many of you remember this. Winston Churchill said, he said, democracy is the worst form of government except for all others. So we prefer the arguing and the yelling and the debating rather than have a handful of people telling us how to live our lives.
You know what? He most certainly is. And that's why I wanted to play this, because this man is 83.
And I've been thinking about something lately.
And he is really,
every year,
really doing a good job. I'm just wondering, where is everybody else?
Vergennes, Vermont, northern Vermont. It's a lovely parade, a lot of people out. And at the end of the parade, a couple of hundred people come to the town green. And the organizers, people give speeches, I give a speech. And they always bring a kid from the high school up. And they have that kid read the Gettysburg Address that Lincoln gave in 1863. And that seems so relevant today. In 1863, a few days after the terrible Battle of Gettysburg, where thousands, tens of thousands of people had died fighting to end the horror of slavery. And Lincoln goes there a few days later, and he looks out on the battlefield. And this is what he said. And some of you, I'm sure many of you are familiar with this. He said, that we here highly resolve that these dead, those people who had died in the battle, shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom. And then he said, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
That's right. Two Democrats, Bernie and Al
that
Green.
is why I am in Altoona with you today.
Well, Jasmine, she's been doing good too.
Let me tell you what we're up against, and I want to be very honest with you. I want you to think back some 6 weeks or so ago when Trump was inaugurated as president. And I was there. I was kind of right up front where you are. They pushed, I don't know why I ended up front, but I was there. It's not exactly the front row seat that I wanted, but there I was. And right behind President Trump, as you may recall, as he was taking the oath of office, were the three wealthiest men in the country. Mr. Musk, Mr. Bezos, and Mr. Zuckerberg. But that's not enough. Standing behind those guys were 13 other billionaires who were nominated by Trump to head up major government agencies. In other words, it was all there for everybody to see. They weren't hiding anything. I got to give them credit for that. You know, the Trump administration is a government of the billionaire class, by the billionaire class, and for the billionaire class.
And let me just say this real quick. Whenever y'all get a chance, I'm playing this video from the Midas Touch Network. So whenever y'all get a chance, go over there and give them a subscribe. And they keep up with this political content like nonstop. So go over there, subscribe to their channel. They definitely have everything that you might want to see to stay updated on all this stuff. And I am playing a good portion of their video. So I want to be sure to shout them out. All right, here we go.
You know, for a number of years, I have been talking about how our nation is moving toward an oligarchic form of society. My friends, we are no longer moving toward oligarchy. We are living in oligarchy. And as we assemble here today, we are going to make it very clear that oligarchy is not what this country is about. I want to mention something, and I honestly don't understand it. We have people like Musk and others, people who have more wealth. They can fulfill all their family needs for 100 generations. I mean, billions and billions of dollars. And yet, despite all of their wealth, they want more and more and more. And I honestly don't understand. Everybody here wants to be comfortable. Everybody here wants to make money. We all want to retire with dignity, want to take care of our kids. That's kind of natural. But what these guys have is a very serious problem. You know, we have in Vermont, and I'm sure in Wisconsin, serious addiction problems, correct? I mean, it is horrible. I mean, in Vermont, we're really dealing with a lot of drug addiction, with overdoses. It's a national problem. We have people who have serious alcohol problems. People have food problems, tobacco problems. A lot of people have addictions. But I will tell you what the most serious addiction is.
Oh, really? Call me.
It is the addiction of greed of this billionaire class.
I didn't know that. I just kind of came up on their channel in the last few weeks, I would say.
I mean, how much do you need to live? And there is no stopping them. And what is scary is right now, they are prepared to dismember the federal government and cut programs that low-income and working-class people desperately need so that they can give themselves an enormous tax break of over $1 trillion. By the way, the reason we have picked, as I mentioned earlier, we were a couple of weeks ago in Omaha and Iowa City, and tonight here we're in various towns in the Midwest. It's not an accident where we are going. The reason we are in this community is you have a congressman who won by a somewhat slim margin. Now, I am here. We're doing a town meeting. Now, I come from Vermont. Well, I think if I'm from Vermont doing a town meeting here, your own congressman should come here. And I think you should be very polite and respectful. He gets a chance to talk, explain his point of view, and you have the right to ask questions. And I think the key question in Wisconsin and all over America is why the hell is anybody thinking of a $1 trillion tax break for the 1% and massive cuts to Medicaid, nutrition, and education? And here's the point, again, why I am here. In the House, as I think many of you know, the Republicans have, it's very tight. They have a 3-seat majority, just 3 out of 435 people. If two Republicans, members of the House, go to their leader and say, you know what? I got a lot of constituents who are on Medicaid. I got a lot of kids who need nutrition programs. And you know what? I am not going to vote to cut Medicaid to give tax breaks to billionaires. If 2 Republican congressmen say that, we have defeated their proposal. That's what we've got to do. Now, what does an $888 billion cut to Medicaid mean? It means that millions of kids right now who are on Medicaid will be thrown off of their health insurance. It means, and this is not widely known, I know in Vermont that I think it's true all over the country, we got nursing homes that are really, really struggling, right? Okay. 2/3 of the people who are in nursing homes are funded by Medicaid. So if you make massive cuts to Medicaid, your mom, your dad may not be able to stay in a nursing home or get the quality of care they need in that nursing home. I have worked very hard over the years to expand community health centers throughout Vermont. Because I have the radical idea that when people get sick, they should be able to walk into a doctor's office. And today, some 32 million Americans utilize community health centers. That's primary health care. Dental care is a big deal, right? Mental health, lower cost prescription drugs. 40% of the funding for community health centers comes from Medicaid. You cut Medicaid, significantly harder for people to get primary health care in America. But what else are they going after? It's not just Medicaid. It is also Social Security. At a time when millions of seniors are struggling to heat their homes, and we know what cold weather is about, right? Or to buy prescription drugs, Musk and his cohorts plan to fire over half the workers at the Social Security Administration. Now, what does that mean in real terms? It means right now, the Social Security Administration is significantly understaffed. And I get calls every day from people. I'm trying to get a hold of Social Security. They're not returning my calls. It's taking me too long. Right now, and there are some 30, you want to hear something that is so horrible, given the fact that we are the richest country on earth, is that 30,000 Americans die every year waiting for an understaffed Social Security to approve disability benefits. Today, all right? Can you imagine somebody's old, they're on disability, they can't get the benefits, they die earlier than they should. If these cuts go through, the number of people who die will go up very significantly. That is not what this country is about, and we're not going to allow that to happen.
So I was just listening to a report this morning where the phone line, um, so the phone line, just what he was just talking about, the phone line that people use to call the Social Security Administration, apparently, um, they wanted to apparently under Elon Musk's mind, whatever, under his suggestion, they wanted to take away the phone line and so that people would only be able to get online. They would only be able to handle their issues online or going in. That's what it is, going into a service center or going online. And just this morning, I heard that that option had been taken off the table. So I don't know if Bernie Sanders talking about it had anything to do with it, but yeah, just so this speech, when was it, y'all? I heard it yesterday evening, or parts of it yesterday evening, and then I heard the other part this morning. So hopefully these things are doing some good.
But it is not just Medicaid that they want to cut or Social Security. They're going after the Veterans Administration. Do we have any veterans or veteran families in the room right now? Well, thank you. One of the honors of my life was that several years ago I chaired the Senate Committee on Veterans Affairs. And what I believe is what I think the overwhelming majority of Americans believe, no matter what their political view may be. And that is when somebody puts his or her life on the line to defend this country, we keep the promises we made to those veterans. But Musk and Trump recently announced there was a proposal out there that they want to fire, or they have a planned reduction of 83,000 employees at the Veterans Administration. So what that means is to the veterans, and in Vermont, we have a really, really good VA hospital. Veterans appreciate it, and I'm sure that's true all over the country. What it means is that the quality of healthcare that veterans get will deteriorate. The amount of time that it takes for them to get the benefits that are due them will become even longer. You do not balance the budget on the backs of the men and women who defended this country. The Veterans of Foreign Wars, that is the second largest veterans organization in the country, they said yesterday, and I quote, "We now call upon VA to reconsider its planned reduction of 83,000 employees." They are right. They are absolutely right. And I call upon the Trump administration to rescind that order. Musk and Trump want to dismantle the Department of Education. 27 million kids in low-income and working-class communities would see their schools lose funding. That means your property taxes would go up. Schools would have less funding to attract teachers. In addition, Pell Grant funding would be cut, making it harder for kids to get a higher education. And if all of that is not bad enough, in the proposal to save money so that we can give tax breaks to the 1%, Trump's budget would cut nutrition assistance by at least through $230 billion. Now, I want you to think about that for a moment. Think about the fact that in the richest country on earth, we have children who are hungry. That's a disgrace unto itself. But think for a moment about the vulgarity of the richest people in the world trying to get more tax breaks and in the process cutting nutrition programs for hungry children. There is no world, no universe, no religion on earth where that is morally acceptable. So what's going on right now, they are trying to dismember the federal government, and they lie a lot about what government does and does not do. But in the process, hundreds of thousands of federal employees may lose their jobs. And I want to say something, and I want you to think about this for a moment. Now, people may say, well, that's really a bad thing. I worry about somebody losing their job. How are they going to get by? How are they going to get health care, retirement, all that stuff? And we all feel for those men and women. But I also want to tell you that even if you're not in the federal government, pay close attention to what they are doing and how they are doing it. All of you know that there is going to be a technological revolution taking place right now, and that is artificial intelligence and robotics. So you're going to have computers and robots replacing human labor, okay? Now, I happen to believe that if technology can make us more productive, that is a good thing. But the benefits must go to the workers, not just those who own the technology. So if they are prepared to tell workers at the federal government, some of whom have dedicated their whole lives to public service, hey, you're out of here, goodbye. Tell me what you did last week, you're out of here, goodbye, goodbye. What do you think they're going to do to people in the private sector when artificial intelligence comes? You're gone, forget it, you're out on the streets. Our job is to make sure that when you have these technologies, it benefits all of us, not just the few. So pay attention to what's going on. Now, I was, the other day on Tuesday, at Trump's State of the Union. It's my job, I went. And what was very interesting, and it's important to pay attention to this, Trump spoke for 100 minutes. I think it was the longest State of the Union ever. And what he did is created, I think, a parallel universe. What these guys do, which is, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the politicians don't lie. Politicians always have lied, and they always have stretched the truth. That's the nature of the game. But what we're seeing now is something very different than what we have seen in the past. It's one thing to stretch the truth, to fib a little bit here. But we are now looking at the phenomenon of the big lie. You all know what that means? What a big lie is about is you say something absurd that is blatantly false, and you say it over and over and over again without shame. Just to give you a few examples, just a few. Trump claimed that the 2020 election was stolen from him and that he won by a landslide. That's a lie. And it's a lie. Think about what that lie means. It's to cast doubts on the way we do elections in America. Why do I want to bother to vote? Why do I want to participate in democracy if somebody's going to steal the election? That's what that's about. Trump has claimed that the January 6th insurrection, where people were trying to deny Biden from becoming president, he claimed that that insurrection was a day of love. A lie. And then this great lover of law and order pardoned all these people who injured over 100 police officers on Capitol Hill. Trump has claimed again, trying to destroy faith in the democratic process. He has claimed that millions of undocumented people vote in American elections. A lie. He has claimed that climate change is a hoax originating in China. And then more recently, he has claimed that Ukraine started the horrific war with Russia. But it was not just Trump. A couple of months ago, and I had worked very hard. I was chairman of a committee called the Health, Education, Labor Committee, and we worked really hard on some public health programs which would have expanded funding for community health centers, would have lowered the cost of prescription drugs as part of a bigger bill called the Continuing Resolution. Democrats, Republicans worked really hard for months. Literally, the day when Congress and the House was going to vote on this, Musk started putting out emails on his Twitter platform, and he said, members of Congress, don't vote for this legislation. It's terrible. It will give members of Congress a 40% increase in their salaries. 40%. Total lie. It was a 3.4% increase. And as a result of what Musk did, that important legislation was defeated. And just last week at his speech, the president repeated the claim that Musk started, that zillions, you all heard, zillions of dead people between the ages of 100 and 500 are collecting Social Security checks. Total, and what is the reason for doing that? You tell me. Why do you do that? Hold on, raise your hand. Somebody raise their hand. Yeah, why? Good, exactly. Young man here said, put down in Social Security. Look, if you're standing out there and somebody says, well, the whole system is broken, people are 200 years old collecting Social Security, massive fraud, people say, Jesus, do we really want to keep the system? That is the purpose. So let's be clear. Well over 99% of Social Security checks are going out to people who earned those checks. Social Security has been the most successful and popular program in American history. It's a program that has kept millions of seniors from poverty. We're not going to let them destroy Social Security.
I'm pretty sure if somebody was getting a check and cashing it, they would find that out right away. That somebody that was deceased and somebody else was cashing their check.
When they lie and lie and lie, they create a situation in which instead of having serious and honest discussion, people have different points of view. What do we do about Social Security? What do we do about health care? What do we do about education? Important issues. What we end up spending half our lives doing is not discussing those issues, but we end up trying to respond to these absolute lies. Now, I want you to think back. I don't know how many of you saw Trump's speech, but if you listen hard to his State of the Union speech, what you observed is that, in fact, he had relatively little to say about the State of the Union. almost nothing. You know, when you talk about the State of the Union, what it is, okay, what is going on? What's going on in the country? You know, what are the needs of the people? What kind of pain are we seeing? How do we respond? That's what you do. People can disagree, but that's what you do. Unbelievably, Trump spoke for 100 minutes, and he almost completely ignored the issues that are keeping millions of working class people up at night as they worry about how their families are going to survive in these very difficult times. Now, let us, this afternoon, do something really radical. You ready? Let us actually do what Trump did not do, and that is take a look at what is going on in our country, especially for working families. Let's start off with the sad reality that in the richest country in the history of the world, today, 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. You all know what living paycheck to paycheck is about? I grew up in a family that lived paycheck to paycheck. And the environment that I grew up in, the life that I had, has shaped who I am as a person and, in fact, my political views. It means, you know what? I'm going to tell you what living paycheck to paycheck, but you know it better than I do. Raise your hand. What is it like living paycheck to paycheck? Who wants to? All right, hold on, one at a time. I can't. Yes. Well, terrible, all right? Yes. Hungry? Hunger. All right, let me get some hands back there. Be loud. We got a hand there. Okay, ma'am. Stressful. Stay on that issue, sir. You're not sure if you're going to be able to keep the heat on. Yes, ma'am. Trying to find a way to plan a meal for until your next paycheck comes. Ma'am? Forget about buying shoes and clothes for your kids. Ma'am? Skipping doctor's visits. Okay, I see a hand back there. Sir, yeah. Fear that your world is going to fall apart. Sir. Am I getting glasses or can I get them for my kids? Sir. Can't plan for the future. Hand back there, sir. Okay, psychological warfare. Yes. You make impossible decisions for your family, sir. General insecurity. Okay, I think you got it. So let me just tell you something on a personal level. My mom died young. Her dream, we lived in an apartment our whole lives, rent-controlled apartment. Her dream, what she wanted more than anything, was to own our own house. And we never achieved that. We didn't have the money to own our own house and other things. Today in America, we live as a nation shorter lives than people in other wealthy countries. Our life expectancy is low. Do you all know that? So we live about 4 years shorter lives than people in Europe or Japan, etc. And that's bad. But I'm going to tell you something that is even worse, that is almost never discussed at all. And that is, if you are working class in the United States of America, you live 7 years shorter life on average than do wealthy people. In other words, and I'm not just talking about poor people who are living out on the street. They don't live very long. I'm talking about working class in general. 7 years shorter lives than the people on top. Why is that? Help me out here. All right, you know what I'm hearing? I'm hearing the word stress. All right? All right, and that's what a lot of your responses were. It deals with stress. What does it mean? And we heard this just now. If you're worried about whether or not you can buy shoes for your kids, what does it mean if you're worried that your landlord's going to raise the rent and you can't afford to pay that rent? Where are you going to live? What does it mean if your car breaks down and you got a $1,000 repair bill, but you can't afford the $1,000? You don't have a car, you can't get to work. And what happens if you can't get to work? What does it mean if your kid says, Mom, I'm sick, and you can't afford to take her to the doctor? You add all of that up. What does it mean if your boss tells you, guess what, you're working the midnight shift because you don't have a regular schedule? You add all of that stuff up, that economic pressure. How do I survive? It wreaks havoc on our bodies and it wreaks havoc on our minds. If we were a poor country, I would come before you and give you a very different speech. I'd say, hey, look, I'm sorry, we're poor. We can't afford decent education, can't afford decent health care, can't afford to protect the environment. I want you never to forget, we are the richest country in the history of the world. There is no excuse for people dying young because of that stress. Now, not only, of course, did Trump not deal with that reality, unbelievably, 100-minute speech, he didn't say one word about healthcare. How many of you think the healthcare system in America works well? Well, you're right. We are spending twice as much per capita on healthcare as the people of any other nation. 85 million are uninsured or underinsured. 60,000 people die every year because they don't get to a doctor when they should. Somehow or another, Mr. Trump forgot to talk about health care. Maybe it has to do with the fact that he didn't want to antagonize his friends in the insurance industry and the pharmaceutical industry. We pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. You all know that? Sometimes 10 times more than what Canadians or Europeans are paying. I didn't hear one word from the president dealing with the reality that 1 out of 4 Americans can't afford the prescriptions their doctors prescribe. Amazingly enough, in Vermont, I don't know about here, we have a major housing crisis. You got 800,000 Americans are homeless, and we got 20 million people spending more than 50% of their limited incomes on housing. So if you're spending 50%, what do you got left? Not much, all right? Not one word on the housing crisis. Today in America, we have more income and wealth inequality than we've ever had. Not one word from the president on that.
All right, as much as I hate to, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off right here because yeah, I haven't been able to stop and do any commentary. It's just it's nothing to say. I mean, every point is a point, you know, is a bar or whatever. It's just it just boggles my mind how people elected Donald Trump again to become the president. I said a lot of things, but one thing I always thought was that why are people, because certainly not me, but why are people electing somebody to be a president of everybody in the country when this man that they elected has no history whatsoever of being a public servant? I mean, call me crazy, but I feel like if you are going to be the president of the United States, I mean, this is not like the homeowners association president. You know, you want to be president of the US of A, and you don't care anything about serving. You've never been a military person, you've never been uh I don't know, a minister, you've never been, in all of his life, never did anything within um what's the other thing? Not public service, but what's the word I'm trying to think of? Nonprofit. You never even had a nonprofit organization. You don't care nothing about nobody. Like, that's how I feel about that man. Like, he don't care about nobody but himself. And that, I mean, he's had, how old is Donald Trump? 78. He's had all these years to do something, anything like that. And he hasn't. He didn't until um Obama was, becoming president. I guess he started antagonizing President Obama as he was running for president. And then, I don't know, I guess, how some people see somebody do something and they think, if he did it, I could do it. Maybe that's where it came from, that he wanted to be president. Um, I don't know. He just has no business holding the office, and it's been proven time and time and time again, over and over. Um, and so for him to gain the momentum to be elected again, it just kind of makes me wonder, like, what was everybody who voted for him, what were they all thinking? And I know people were thinking a lot of different, coming from a lot of different experiences and everything, um, but as far as his base, I don't know. It's just a lot to be said there. But if you want to hear, there's only probably about another 20 minutes of the speech. Because I wasn't able to do much breaking into the video, I don't want to get dinged for, just when you put up somebody else's content, you are supposed to have commentary and stop and change up their content to just not just play their content. He cheated. I heard that, call me Nick. Cause like, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but my goodness, like, but see, I don't think all those people were bamboozled. I just think the sense of someone feeding the base that he has with their white supremacist um rhetoric, the feeling that this, whatever that food is that they like to consume. I It's like it got the best of them. And I'm looking at this crowd and I'm thinking, not be honest, how many of y'all voted for Trump? Be honest, because I'm sure that in a crowd that large, there's some MAGA, there's some Trump people that are outraged at this point, and they can't believe what we're going through. They can't believe what he's doing and saying. They can't believe what he's not doing and saying. And you know but I'm just like, okay, I mean, he just fed you what you wanted to eat for a minute, and now that he's in the position that he's in, nobody can pretty much do anything about it. I mean, there's things we can do, but immediately there's nothing that we can do. All these things have to keep going through courts, and then he's trying to just be outrageous and send all this stuff to courts so that they can bat it down so he can get up to the Supreme Court where he stacked the court in his favor. It's it's um it's a mess. I mean, I hate to sound so pessimistic because I'm not a pessimistic person generally, but it is a good mess. So I believe you, especially with the whole Putin stuff. It's just no telling what all was done so that he could make sure he won that election and bragged and thanked him afterwards. Wow. Yeah, it's something it's something special. And I don't know. I almost think that they shouldn't have, I mean, as interesting as, it was sometimes listening to Joe Biden when he would, have to be on stages and stuff. I almost think that he should have just stayed in position and kept running, because it just seems to me like we still have so much I don't know, chauvinism within the entire country. I just think some people in their minds, they probably just made it some kind of way be okay to either vote for Donald Trump or not vote for anybody at all, because they can't see themselves with a female president. And then I don't know, you add her blackness in there, or whatever amount of blackness there is, depending upon how you think about her ethnicity, and then it's just a solid no. Um, but I do kind of feel like, for the people in the back that couldn't stand to see a woman become president, I just think maybe we should have just kept maybe we should have just kept Joe, just standing up there. Even said it out loud twice already. He said it was rigged and he won. Oh my. Can, can you send me a link or put in there where I could find it? Like, I would like to know where he said that. It's been going over everybody's head for some reason. I didn't hear it. Wow. Man. And yeah, at this point, the good news is that I do believe in miracles. I do believe in miracles. And I think that, um, if we aren't already doing this, or for whoever is not already, really serious about investing, I know it probably seems like a bad time to invest, but we really do have to. And I mean, think about all the different ways to invest, not just maybe the stock market, but definitely I think it's a good idea to start learning more about the stock market, start looking at what you do feel comfortable making investments in, because now, while the stock market is down, it is, and this is not advice, this is just how I'm thinking myself. Um, I think it is a good idea to go ahead and start really getting into investments. If that's not something that you're doing already, if you are, then you are doing good. Um, but yeah, we that's just something that I've been really on. Hmm, that's interesting. Look, it's like glancing out the window, and I keep seeing like one cop car, another cop car, and that's not normal. So, yeah, but let us get on our investing tip, because it's just, I don't know. It's no telling what all he has in mind. We know that he's out to appease a lot of people. The Project 2025 is in full swing. He's put the people that wrote it in positions. Um, and I've seen them on like hidden camera. They had a couple guys go and talk to the man that he's put in position now. I think his name is Russell Vogt. So there were some guys that came to talk to him. He thought they were talking to him about something else, but little did he know they had hidden cameras. And he pretty much told them that, Project 2025 is what we're doing. Donald Trump knows we're doing it. If, he's agreed to go with plan. And there, how did he say it? He said it's parts of the plan that are, that is available for anybody to read. And then there's other like secret parts of the plan that won't come out until it's time for that stuff to come out. It's dark. It's really dark. So so yeah, we have to do everything that we can do to um go against it, to kind of get the word out, and to kind of protect ourselves with good finances, and that's going to be interesting because of all the stuff that's going on with tariffs and stuff. So let's see, I'll try to find the clips. Thank you. And you said, oh, okay, Elon. He said he would never vote by machine. Ooh, because they are too easy to hack. And there are videos on YouTube showing a real time how machines are hacked. Wow. Very dark. Very dark. Very dark. But yeah, that's who they are, and that's what they're doing. So yeah, I'm happy to see Bernie. I hope that he kind of, just the fact that he's doing this and he's willing to do it, kind of sparks something in other people who are um, politicians, maybe some upcoming politicians, will be able to kind of just, get like a fire, lit under them to go out and do some things like this, so that people can, the creative juices can start flowing, like we can start to see more of what we can do. Um, but yeah, he really hit the ground running with all this, pushing Elon Musk into the government and firing people, and it's just, getting all of our information. It's been a lot, and we've been pretty docile about it. I mean, I know that there are people out there doing some protesting and stuff like that, but it just doesn't seem like it's nearly like the outrage that we would see if this had been a Democratic president doing this. Um, so hopefully we'll get there. And Communique said they were both on Roland Martin's podcast as well, and Jessica Denson's. Okay, yeah, I got to. Okay, yeah, let me go, and I'll go try to see if I can find that, and then if I can get the clips, we'll put them up over here, because yeah, I think we just need to know everything that, we need to take a good hard look at what's going on here. A good hard, not that we're not already, but I don't know if there's anything that we can do. Um, we need to be found doing it. So, okay, well, I'm going to get off of here. I think it is. I think it is my dinner time. Oh yeah, I'm getting close. So my cousin, every year well, not every year, probably for the last like 3 years, she's been fasting at the time of Ramadan. She's not a Muslim and I'm not either, but she's been doing the fast, and just kind of as a help to everything else that you might be doing, exercising and um, being on your diet or whatever, but just taking out the time when everyone else is doing their fast to have it's like you fast until sundown. So I think I have talked right up onto sundown, and my little lamp down there is shining up. So so I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. But yeah, if you have time and would like to hear the last of this speech, you can go over to the Midas Touch. And then there's other speeches over there too that I think it's like two or three more. So he's been doing this in different cities. And yeah, I think it's good. I think, people are wanting answers, and people are wanting help, and people are wanting to know what they can do. And I don't know, what a mess, but I believe that somehow, some way, we will be okay. uh Gonna have to do a lot to combat all this stuff that's going on. Let's see. Wait a minute, I didn't read this one. They have the data. The clips are probably all over there. So okay. Okay. KC votes. Okay, Casey votes. I haven't heard about that one, but I'll go over there and probably see what I can find over there when I am. I don't see a link, but that might be because of YouTube. YouTube might be hiding it from me. Also my phone went dead. So when I can pull the live back up on my phone, I'll see. I don't see it now though. I think they do that just so people can't throw out kind of links in there. Yep, I'll search on YouTube. I sure will. Yeah, because we got to dig in and see what's going on. But okay, well, thank you so much, especially you, Communique. Thank you for tuning in with me and hanging on in there. And I'll be back and find something else, all sorts of other stuff for us to make sure that we stay up on. And if there's any opportunities for us to get anything done, then we definitely will. But okay, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.